Is living in London really depressing? Welcome back. You know we don't like to shy away from emotive questions like this. Since we found this question on the lips of ex-Londoners and those with different homes in and outside of London, we felt like grabbing the bull by the horns and dissecting this question. We hope this video will give you the best and most balanced answer to the question, is living in London really depressing? We found that many are quite modest in their answers to the question. It's likely you've had some experience in this regard. You're free to share your thoughts and opinions on this subject with us. We actually would love you, viewers, to decide after considering the facts presented in this video. A succinct run through. A lot of answers to this question has to do with the culture. The UK is generally more conservative and doesn't much encourage fun. That's likely going to be the view of someone from the United States, who is used to a much more youthful country founded on liberal independent thinking and which emphasises being an individual. London, which is known for a richer history and iconic landmarks, is also culturally diverse. But again, it can be considered boring by someone who's thinking about places like New York City, which is rich in entertainment, excitement, and movies. Apart from the much more open and friendly NYC, other global cities, such as Tokyo, Paris, and Madrid, have a higher level of energy and excitement than London. In these cities, you'll enjoy more vibrant nightlife. They too have what London has in terms of a wider variety of cultural attractions and a faster pace of life. Yet, London is a relatively older city. It'll not be fair to exclude cities like Rome if you want to compare its architecture and infrastructure, as they might not be as flashy or as modern as those more modern cities like Amsterdam, Stockholm, and Sydney. However, many folks would never see London as really depressing, given the fact that it has its own charm and appeal. Many people actually find London to be quite comfortable, cool, and enjoyable place to live or visit. Thus, in summary, what ultimately makes a city interesting or boring and lively or depressing is subjective and depends on an individual's preferences and experiences. Still, we love to do some comparisons to further dig for the answer to the question, is living in London really depressing? Insightful comparison helps out. To rank a city on a positive or negative note to determine how depressing or otherwise it is to live in, you need to compare it with cities of a similar calibre. The new Arab bride Dubai even compares more favourably than London in some respects. At least in the city, everywhere is open for business, at least till midnight. And they indeed do good business. But in London, expats coming from such cities as Dubai find the shock of their lives. By the time they're out of work, they have less time to do anything. Their only options are either the pub or go home. Other cities like Tokyo rank higher than London for infrastructure and relentless food scene. Barcelona is believed to outperform London in the nightlife category, as it's won praise for itself in the area of commitment to calming traffic and creating community space. Prague, Berlin, Hong Kong, Dublin, and Istanbul each have different great features that are either lacking or deficient in London. Yet, looking insightfully, we can see that there is at least a great strength of London that's an obvious weakness in each of those cities. Yet, let's choose just one city, New York City, as it won't be necessary or practical to compare London with all of them in every aspect. Deciding factors. Weather. Taken in isolation, the weather in London might be nauseating. It's something we don't want to talk about. Yet, London could do better and rank better if the weather had been different from this. Many expats find it difficult to handle it. Even those born in London, but who have reasons to live in cities and countries like Turkey, Cyprus, and Romania, might find London's weather miserable. It can rain in London. Whenever you're in London, don't forget your brolly, as no weather forecast can be definitely right regarding rain. London weather is so unpredictable. It's quite different in New York City. While it can beat the best of meteorology in certain moments, it's generally the kind of weather you can imagine. For instance, summer is very hot in NYC, we all know, with decent rain. The fall ranges from warm to cold, but the sky is mostly clear. In the winter, NYC can record plenty of sub-zero days and snowstorms, while the spring can still produce warmer temperatures. Crime. Now, this begs the question, is London safer than NYC? We can place a bet on it that you'll get different answers. One factor that'll affect the answer is the individual perception, which is also shaped by the part of the city he lives in and his experience. Even statistics can be contradictory depending on the sources of information and methods used in gathering data. We've seen statistics indicating that in both cities, petty crime has a relatively lower rate than many other of the world's greatest cities. When it comes to murder, NYC appears more dangerous, though its crime is class-based. There are areas of London with terribly high murder rates. It also records more muggings, sexual assaults, and violent assaults. Knife crime in London is putting many off London living. Housing. Here's another factor in deciding how depressing a city can be. Life's anything but comfortable without suitable accommodation at affordable prices and conducive conditions. Housing is such a major concern in London, and it seems not to be receiving the serious attention that it deserves. Homelessness is a big problem. It's absolutely abysmal how many people are without shelter in the city. To many people, it's really upsetting. Why are they homeless? They apparently can no longer afford their rent and have to stay on leave, or are forced out of their home for some reason by stone-hearted landlords. Eviction orders are all too easy to obtain in London. Such housing rue isn't a common feature in NYC. However, that's not the only issue with housing in London. Even the structure and layouts in poor areas of the city aren't what many are used to. You sometimes get lost traversing the twisting and turning arrays of residential housing that are stuck together endlessly but devoid of any pretty open shops or restaurants. Long rows of residential housing in NYC have more varieties and flavours. Again, it depends on the individual. You may love or hate such emptiness. But even in the same city, you can find homes that keep London out on top. The fact is that you have more choices. 6-month breakout clauses or furnished apartments are generally the norm. Depending on your choice and budget, new flats, old flats, big houses, and backyards are all available. Unfortunately, foreign investment in the city is pushing up the property prices, such that locals have to move outside the city since the houses in the city have become unaffordable. Transportation. The Tube, the first in the world, normally impresses visitors with its clean, brightly lit, and civilized presentation as they relax on the cushions of the seats. You can also be sure of tiny time intervals between trains with almost 100% accurate next train times. You won't find homeless people, as you would with the mineshaft experience of NYC's subway system with its screeching metal roar. The Tube's aesthetics usually infuse tourists with enthusiasm. On the flip side, this service doesn't feel the same for Londoners. For example, imagine having to check the TfL website every Saturday and Sunday morning to see which of the lines are regularly being shut, as usual. While NYC's transport system may not be that pretty, you're spared such worries. You've got to be checking your watch during every outing in London, because a major deal might be catching the last train, even on the weekends. It'll be cooler if the tubes were at 24/7 operation, or extended the operation beyond 12:30 on the weekend. That alone will clear the air about whether London is a depressing city. There are almost twice as many stations on NYC's transit system. It has more track length and messages to stay afloat, while commuters in London pay way too much. Taxis and buses don't fare better. In London, they're regulated in favour of the consumer everywhere, unlike in many other cities. However, it's nauseating to be made to cough out double what you'd pay for the same distance in NYC's yellow taxis. Taxis and buses don't fare better. In London, they're regulated in favour of the consumer everywhere, unlike in many other cities. However, it's nauseating to be made to cough out double what you'd pay for the same distance in NYC's yellow taxi. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.